It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome aboard. Did you hear about that monster brown trout caught in Arkansas a couple of weeks ago? It was a big one, and we've got the details from Arkansas Game and Fish. Your report, Eric Underhill, an avid angler from Colorado, was at Craner's White River Lodge and fishing with one of their guides on the White River below Bull Shoals Dam when he hooked into a big one. The fish was so big, the guide had to follow the trout in the boat, which took them 300 yards downstream before coming to the bank. When they finally got that brown trout to shore, it was a lot bigger than either of them thought it was. That trout measured 34 inches long and weighed in at 25.8 pounds. Not a record, believe it or not. You'd have to catch a 40-plus pounder for that. But definitely the fish of a lifetime. Way to go, Eric. This week on America Outdoors Radio, we've got two events to tell you about you really ought to attend. One is coming up in a few weeks in Montana, and the other one is taking place in a few days in Springfield, Missouri. The first event is the annual Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Rendezvous, coming up May 12th and going through the 14th in Missoula. Josh Mills is helping to put together this big event, and we'll be interrupting him on a fishing trip for a few minutes to tell us more about it. The other event is the World Fishing Fair, happening this coming week between Wednesday the 30th and Sunday, April the 3rd at the Bass Pro Shop headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. Billed as the greatest fishing show on earth, there are going to be all sorts of exhibitors, great sales, all sorts of celebrities, fun stuff for the kids, great seminars for the adults, concerts from legendary country singers, and oh yes, $250,000 in prizes given away to some of the lucky attendees who will be coming. Jeff Wilhoit with Bass Pro will join us towards the end of the program to tell you about this one. In between these events, we'll tell you about some shallow water anchors you can buy for your boat or kayak that won't break the bank like those talons and power poles can. They are called stick pin anchors. No electricity is required, really easy to use. They are very effective, and Tom Sullivan, the owner of Stick It Anchor Pins, will jump on board from his office in North Carolina to tell you all about them. In addition to this, we'll also take you to the other side of the country towards Tillamook, Oregon on the Pacific Coast, where Jameson Johnson, the owner of Big Johnson's Guide Service, is waiting to take you out for both freshwater and saltwater fishing trips where you can catch steelhead, salmon, bottomfish, and oh yes, some delicious Dungeness crab. This portion of the show is brought to you by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, and now is the time to be scouting for turkey because seasons are going to start very soon in all sorts of states around the country. And this might also be the perfect time to purchase a new shotgun for the upcoming turkey season. Henry Repeating Arms has got a great one, their 12-gauge single-shot turkey camo shotgun. It's all camoed up in Realtree Obsession Camo, the official camouflage of the National Wild Turkey Federation. And the beauty of this shotgun is both its simplicity as a break-action single-barrel shotgun and also the fiber optic sights that will help you get on target quickly during those early morning, low-light conditions when those birds are off the roost and on the move. Like all of Henry's firearms, this one is made in the USA. It's rugged, accurate right out of the box, and has a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. Go to henryusa.com to find out more details about this single-shot turkey camo shotgun and to find a dealer near you. And don't forget to ask for your free decal and stickers while you're online at henryusa.com. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we need to tell you about a big event coming up May 12th through the 14th. It's the annual Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Rendezvous. With us here to tell you more about it is my old friend Josh Mills, coming at us today from a guided fishing trip on Lake Pend Oreille in the Idaho Panhandle. First things first, Josh, How's the fishing?
Good. We're just getting the planer boards going, and we're going to get set up and try to find some Lakers.
Oh, I have no doubt you'll do well. Lake Pend Oreille is one of the best in North America as far as I'm concerned. Let's talk about the rendezvous. What's going to be happening this year?
Well, this is our 11th annual BHA Rendezvous. It's going to be at Fort Missoula, basically right inside Missoula. And it's just a blast. It's the biggest public lands bash anywhere on the continent. And we're going to have people from all around North America coming in for a celebration of the outdoors and what we love to do, hunting, fishing, camping, all that fun stuff. Also with some great guests and events coming this year. So it's May 12th through the 14th in Missoula, like we talked about. And it all kicks off that Thursday afternoon and really gets rolling through Friday and Saturday. And it's so much fun and so informative. And it's really a collection of people that, really celebrate the things that we love.
In past rendezvous I've attended, there's been a night where it's been open to the public. You don't have to be a BHA member to attend, and that usually draws a huge crowd. There's usually some beer involved. Sure. There's usually some music involved.
No. Yeah, and here's the understated thing. I don't want to overstate this, is you don't have to be a BHA member to join us. And anybody who wants to come is invited, anybody and anyone. It's family friendly for the most part. And so what we end up doing is there's seminars all day. We've got a very large vendor component. We've got about 50 of the best outdoor brands joining us, people like First Light and NRS and such. And then we also have the big things like we've got a Backcountry Brew Fest, which is going to be in downtown Missoula at Harris Park. We've got campfire storytellers at the Wilma Theater on Friday night and just tons of other stuff going on.
Well, I know the campfire storytelling is always big, but the seminars are too. And I know one of the bigger draws you have every year are seminars involving the whole field-to-table experience. Last year,
Absolutely.
Out of Missoula, you actually butchered a bison. What are you going to have this year?
Well, that's going to be a hard one to top. We partnered with the Blackfeet tribe last year, and it was just really a special moment of really kind of seeing something that most people don't see. Big thanks to them because, people who had never been around a bison, and we did a full breakdown right there, and people got involved, and people got a chance to see an animal they're not really accustomed to, and then, broke that all down. And then also one of the bigger events, too, is we have this thing called the Wild Game Cook-Off, where we have 10 chapters from around the country creating things that are regionally specific, and they vie for this big title. It's a funny little trophy they win, but it's a big deal. I mean, some of the best food you've ever tasted is coming from out of the wild, and it's pretty spectacular.
Something new that you've got going this year is you're going to be raffling off a pickup truck, a Chevy pickup, but it's not just any Chevy pickup. It's a 1998 Chevy, and it's all tricked out. Tell our listeners more about this.
Yeah, and that promotion and sweepstakes is going to go live here pretty quick, but it's a 98 Silverado, one of those classic square bodies. Our partner at Mountaintop Motors out of Troy, Missouri has really outfit this thing with just every amazing little doohickey. And then a lot of our corporate partners have joined us and have, things like Gunner Kennels and NRS and Vortex are coming in. We're going to have several thousands of dollars worth of gear that people can win off that. It'll be there on site, and we're going to give that thing away just a couple days after Rendezvous, but it's going to be awesome. Speaking of raffles, we've got just an amazing amount of stuff that you can get, as well as life membership options from people like Weston, Weatherby, other things like that, where you get some amazing gear to be a part of BHA.
Sounds like a great event as always. How do people find out more and get tickets so they can attend?
The easiest way to go is just go to our website, backcountryhunters.org, and there's a big tab that says Rendezvous, and you can go out there and sign up. And also, we're camping on site. I'm bringing my trailer over. You can stay in hotels, but a lot of fun. It's just camping out with everybody. We have a big bonfire every night, and, revel in all the things that we love to do. And, yeah, it's super fun. Also, if people want to come volunteer, there's half-price tickets here as well. And it is the bee's knees, man. It is my favorite weekend of the year.
It is a fun event indeed. I've attended several of the rendezvous, and folks, if you go, you're going to have a great time, and you'll be supporting this great organization that's all about fishing, hunting, camping, and protecting our public lands. The website, again, backcountryhunters.org, May 12th through the 14th at Fort Missoula in western Montana. Thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio, Josh.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you there.
Country hunters and anglers. You may have heard of us, but what are we about? BHA is the voice for your wild public lands, waters, and wildlife. From national level policy work to boots on the ground projects like public land cleanups, we work across North America to uphold the legacy of our public lands and waters, as well as your opportunity to hunt, fish, and recreate on them. Stand up for public lands and waters and become a BHA member today. Visit backcountryhunters.org.
Ready to step up to a quality-built rifle or shotgun that's a true classic? Check out Henry Repeating Arms, American-made. There's over 200 models to choose from in a variety of finishes and calibers for hunters and target shooters. Many of these are lever-action models with a look right out of the Old West. Don't be deceived, though. Henry Repeating Arms are modern, rugged, accurate, reliable, and have a lifetime guarantee. Find out more and order a free catalog today at henryusa.com. That's henryusa.com.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstances, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the darkest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a non-profit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference. That's huntofalifetime.org.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now. They're truly Alaska's best lodge. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge. You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've told you before, we cover the fishing and hunting sea from sea to shining sea, and we are heading to the shining sea today, specifically Tillamook, Oregon. That's where Jamison Johnson, the owner of Big Johnson's Guide Service, is located, and he offers not only fishing trips out in the Pacific Ocean and Tillamook Bay, but also fishes the area rivers for salmon and steelhead. Jamison, great to have you on the air today.
Hey, thanks, John. Good to be with you.
Understand you just got off the water. What were you fishing for, and how did it go?
Yes, sir. We were on the water today for winter steelhead, and had one person with me today, and we caught the limits there. A little wet today, a little rainy, but it was a successful trip. Good times, and I got a little cold and was underdressed perhaps, but it was a good time.
That's all right. You got him as fish. You know, there's like 5 rivers that flow into the Tillamook Bay, or that general area on the north coast of Oregon. Understand it's been a pretty good year for steelhead, and that's unusual because the west coast, by and large, outside of Oregon, has been really struggling with steelhead runs. Which river were you fishing?
We were on the Wilson today. I live right on the Wilson River. I typically try to target the Trask River. A lot of times it's the less pressure. There's more, mostly wild fish over there, but you have a chance of catching a fish of a lifetime over there. Really big, 20-plus pound fish. Not a lot of them, but there are some really nice trophy fish over there.
You know, the steelhead runs further north in Washington State, including the Olympic Peninsula, just tanked. But they're holding strong on rivers like the Rogue in southern Oregon and the Chetco, as well as the North Coast rivers you fish. Do you attribute this to the broodstock program that the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife has that's been in effect for several years now?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of guys are involved in that, having the tanks for the fish, the wild program we get. Tim Juarez is a great guy that helps out a lot with that, and some of the local guides. And we all contribute and participate in the rearing ponds and gathering these fish for the broodstock, and it's a great program.
And why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit more about this? I mean, this is really innovative. It's working. Essentially, you as a guide, you catch a wild steelhead, and what do you do with it, and what does the state do with it from there?
So what we do is we get these fish, we sign up to Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and we get these fish in these little tanks, and they're aerated so they stay healthy. We want to make sure we have healthy fish in that so they'll survive throughout the boat ride and then, of course, back to the acclimation pond. And we put them in the pond, we record it, and the Fish and Wildlife, once you record it, they come every day and go check and see if there's fish in there, and then they take them back to the hatchery. And from there, they proceed to spawn them and get the eggs, and they try to get the genetics for the bigger fish together, and we get a great return from that.
Well, I think it's fantastic, and I hope that there's some folks in other states taking note of this and might follow suit. Let's turn our attention to Spring Chinook. It looks like it's going to be a decent run this year, and I know that's next on the calendar. When are you going to start fishing for those, and where?
Well, I'm going to start out probably in April, and I'll start over on the Multnomah Channel on the Willamette and the Columbia system there. We start seeing fish on the coast here. Good numbers start in May, and so I'll kind of go back and forth depending on where the clients are coming from and what their preference is. But yeah, we're expecting a little bit better run this year on the Willamette than last year. Last year wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't a really, really strong run. And so we're looking forward to that and getting more fish in our system so we can make more of our clients a little more happier.
Oh, yeah, and folks, people just love catching Spring Chinook. They're great eating fish. They get real big. And the Multnomah Channel, if you're not aware, that's right around the Rose City of Portland, Oregon. So you're literally fishing within sight of downtown when you're fishing for springers over in that area. As for the Tillamook area, are you fishing the rivers, or are you actually fishing out in Tillamook Bay in the spring?
Well, actually, we do a little bit of both. We have the drift boat that we float down the rivers in, and that's more of a bobber fishing thing. And then we also take people in the bay, and we troll just like we do for the fall Chinook. Troll out by the jetty and in the Ghost Hole and, the West Channel over there. And it can be successful. It's all a matter of preference of what people like to do, whether they want to bobber fish or troll. So you get some crowds that rather just sit back and tell stories and wait for the rod to go down.
We've got some listeners today who are in some southern states, some midwestern states. You're talking about bobber fishing. They're probably picturing the little red and white bobber that you just tie onto your line. It's not that kind of bobber fishing, is it?
Oh, no. What we have is a setup to where we slide it. We have a little braided knot on our line that we adjust for the depth that we want to fish at. And when you cast out, the weight pulls that line through your bobber, and then it stops at the spot where the knot's at. So you can control your depth on whichever hole you're in. And we just kind of drift along and wait for that bobber to drop and get the guys to get a really good hook set on it to pick up that slack and get the hook set. And then it's a battle. You just hold on to your seatbelt and enjoy the ride.
And got to ask, when it comes to the bobber fishing, what kind of bait are we using here?
Sometimes we use just the sand shrimp. Californians would probably call that more of the ghost shrimp, I believe. And we use those. We use some sardines with it, eggs, the roe, and a little bit of scent. We got some bloody tuna, and tuna itself, the meat works. And so we put a little combination platter there, and captain's platter we call it, and throw it at them and see what they're hitting that day.
You're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Jamison Johnson, the owner of Big Johnson's Guide Service out of Tillamook, Oregon. We've talked a little bit about river fishing. Let's head back out in the ocean. You offer some bottom fishing trips, and why don't you tell us the boat you're fishing out of and what those look like?
So, yeah, we have an open-face boat. It has 4 seats in it. It's a 20-foot boat. A lot of guys are when they first see the boat, they're a little scared, but when you're out there in the water, it's a Willys Raptor. They're really stable in the ocean, really great time. We don't go out there if the oceans are really rough, of course. Go out and take some bottom fishing trips. We also even do ocean coho trips, a lot of good time. We also offer crabbing while we're out there, so people get an extra bounty out there.
I was going to ask whether you threw crab pots out on the way out and picked them up on the way in. And it sounds like you do on both those trips, absolutely. The bottom fish and the coho trips?
Yeah, of course. We like to have people get their extra bonus round with crab out there.
Well, not only that, we're talking Dungeness crab here, folks, which are absolutely delicious. And as I recall, the limit in Oregon is 12 crabs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. That's a lot of crab. You get 4 people in the boat, you leave with 48 crab. That's a monster amount of crab.
Oh, it is. And what a bonus indeed. And folks, I've been bottom fishing out of Tillamook Bay before. You're going to get in the lingcod. You're going to get in the black and the blue sea bass. It's a ton of fun. But we've got to talk briefly about the ocean coho, too, because they're expecting, 1 million coho this year to the mouth of the Columbia River. It should be lights out fishing this summer for you.
Oh, absolutely. We do pretty good out here. A lot of these fish travel up and down the coast, and usually when the Columbia is predicting big numbers, we have a great time out here as these fish are coming by. And Sometimes it's fast and furious. We'll have multiple rods off at once, and it's kind of exciting, kind of a little fast and furious, though.
Well, I think everybody wants a fishing day like that. So, folks, make plans to head out to Tillamook on the Oregon coast. Your first stop should be tillamookcoast.com. That's the website to go to find places to stay, places to eat, all sorts of other things to do besides fishing. And then book your trip with Jameson Johnson at Big Johnson's Guide Service. His website, bigjohnsonsguideservice.net. That's bigjohnsonsguideservice.net. Whether you're after winter steelhead or spring chinook or ocean coho or bottom fish or a whole bunch of Dungeness crab, he's going to show you a great time. The website again, bigjohnsonsguideservice.net. Jameson, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
A seafood bounty is waiting for you on Northwest Oregon's Tillamook coast. Catch a limit of big salmon, haul up a pot of delicious crab, and dig up a bunch of clams for some hot chowder. Plan your visit today at tillamookcoast.com.
Why book at Sportsman's Cove Lodge?
Why is Alaska like no other place on Earth? It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
From the way you get here on a float plane to the way you go out with the guides and the boats, it's just a professional experience.
And I said, this is as good as it gets. I said, if you can't catch fish here, you can't catch fish anywhere.
Your experience with us will leave you speechless.
Book now at alaskasbestlodge.com.
Hunting and fishing are exercises in hope. Before you head into the woods, you hope to tag out on a deer you'll have to field dress. Before you make that first cast, you hope for a big fish to clean and fillet. When your hopes are realized, you'll need a sharp knife. Whether you sharpen that blade on a power sharpener in the shop or a manual sharpener in the field, WorkSharp has the tool for you. Look for WorkSharp products in sporting goods stores near you or online at WorkSharpTools.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. We've got something really interesting to tell you about here, and it involves a personal story. As some of you know, I bought a bass boat with my buddy. It's a fiberglass Nitro Z17. Absolutely love it, but you just can't throw an anchor off the bow cleat because, you know, that rope's going to rub off that gel coat. So what's a person to do? Well, a lot of folks, they get those really expensive power poles or Talon shallow water anchors, but I'll be honest, we don't have $4 or $5 grand to spend on that. So we're right back to the same thing. We fish a lot of shallow water for bass, and we need a way to keep ourselves stationary. Well, guess what? I found something, and if you don't know about this, I think you're going to be interested too. They're called Stick-It anchor pins, and it's a great way that's very affordable to anchor your boat, whether you've got a flats boat, a bass boat, or any other kind of boat, or a kayak too, and be stationary for not much money at all. With us here to tell you more is the owner of Stick-It Anchor Pins, Tom Sullivan. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's good to be here.
I know these are pretty popular out in North Carolina and in the intercoastal waters where you live and fish, but out where I live in the Northwest, I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. It's an ingenious idea, and it's so much more affordable than an electric shallow water anchor.
Yes, we've been making the Stick-It anchor pin for some time, and one of the advantages is it is more affordable than a motorized system.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the anchor pin story in terms of its beginnings and how you became the owner of it?
Well, we were already in the ATV business some years ago, and we're looking for an acquisition product to add to our offerings, and we came across Stick-It anchor pins. They had been around since 2006, making a fine product, and it was something that fit well with our portfolio of products.
And I understand that Stick-It anchor pins are actually sourced, made right here in the U.S.?
That's correct. They're made right here in North Carolina. Originally, they were made in Florida. We've just recently moved the production up here in North Carolina to keep in step with the Made America foundation of the company, and we're sticking to that as we speak.
Well, let's talk about exactly what these anchor pins are. Essentially, it's a fiberglass pole, got a handle on top and a sharp edge at the bottom, and they work for both sand and murky bottoms, correct?
That's exactly right. They are able to penetrate the bottom to about a foot, and that enables the boat to be anchored very, very securely with just that 1 foot of digging in the mud.
And I understand they come in sizes from 5.5 feet, which is perfect for kayakers, all the way up to 10 feet long. How big of a boat can you use this with and hold it secure?
You're absolutely right, John. We can use them with boats as small as a kayak, a fishing kayak. We have a lot of customers that use that. But we also have the ability to be fitted to a boat up to 24 feet long. The idea being we can anchor it quietly, securely for a boat that large, and it's a very simple process to do so.
Well, let's talk about how you use it. Now, getting back to those electronic shallow water anchors, you see those on either side of the main motor on the back of the boat, and you actually have a motor mount system as well that attaches to the transom. The difference is, getting again to the affordability and ease of installation, you know, those electronic ones run anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. Yours runs less than $250, and unlike the other ones that are electric, where you have to do work on your transom, on yours you don't have to do any work to the transom at all, do you?
That's right. We have what's called a motor mount system. It's one of a couple of different systems we have to anchor to the bottom and to the boat. The motor mount system is unique in that it's a universal fit to most engines that are offered out there. What it does is it mounts to the physical bolts that are already through your transom that anchor your motor to the transom. So it's a nice clean fit, no additional holes are needed, and it's a really simple process to do. It's very, very simple, doesn't take a lot of time, and it's a nice clean installation as well.
In addition to this, you have a brake mount system. Tell us how this one works.
Yes, that is a somewhat more affordable component. We make that here in North Carolina as well. What it is, it's an adaptable bracket that's made out of fiberglass and plastic combined. It's very lightweight, but the key to that is it's adaptable. So what it is, it's a mount that sits on a bracket that has teeth where you turn to a certain degree. It's necessary for your boat for an exact fit. And what happens is you then run 3 bolts through that. It sets a fixed position. And then from there, the installation is real simple. It goes either to the transom or to the bow of your boat on a flat surface. And then once that's screwed in, it sits there securely, and then our anchor pin goes through that and into the bottom, and that's how it's secured to the boat.
But wait, as they say, there's more. The most affordable option for your stick-it anchor pins is just to have one that you use with a dock rope, and it ties right to the cleat towards the bow of your boat. And you have one that's actually 10 feet long. So does that equate to what, about 6-8 feet of water that you're anchored up in?
That's right. It's about 8 feet of water. And with the longer 10-foot pin that we offer, it comes in 2 different varieties. The first, of course, is a full 10-foot pin, no connectors, all one piece. The second has a coupling that's a 2-piece 10-foot anchor pin. It screws together similar to what you'd see on a pool cue, but it's much more sturdy and robust. With that, we offer that 2-piece for 2 reasons. Number one, it's easier to store if you need less space on your boat or elsewhere. But also for shipping purposes, it's a lot less expensive to ship a 2-piece 10-footer than it is a single-piece 10-footer.
Oh, I love that. And I got to be honest, I love the fact that it breaks apart into a 7-foot and 3-foot piece, because our Nitro Z17 just happens to have a 7-foot storage locker, so we could put it right in there. A question for you in terms of moving with the motor mounts in the back. I understand that you actually have a little grommet or something so that you can lift up the pole and move with it. Now, I'm guessing you don't want to do that at high speeds, though, with this long fiberglass pole, though, do you?
That's correct, John. And what happens is when you use our motor mount or our brake, those are the 2 that are mounted to the physical boat, as opposed to the lanyard, which is tied to the boat or a cleat. Those 2, we offer a grommet, a very tight grommet that goes on the anchor pin rod so that you can physically lift the anchor pin out of the water, adjust this grommet so it sits at the top of the bracket, so that you may have 2 or 3 or 4 feet of rod sticking down below the boat, but that still gives you the ability to move the boat, keep the anchor pin in its bracket, move to your new location, and easily drop that back into the water in one movement.
I love this. Absolutely love this. And one last question for you here. So, if you just have the one motor mount, it's going to spin, and that's whether you have an electronic or manual anchor in terms of shallow water anchor. But if you have two, one on either side of the motor, is it going to hold it just as secure as those electronic anchors do?
It will. And what we have customers and what we've tested on is having 2 anchor pins, either one to each side of the motor or one at the stern of the boat and one at the bow of the boat, so that you can orient the boat in exactly the position you want relative to the shore or to your fishing target or into the wind, etc. And what happens is you can anchor those 2 pins, set one, walk to the other end of the boat, set the other, and again, your boat will be in a perfect position. It won't move around. You won't have anchor lines running off of both ends of either end of the boat, and you won't have much drift either because of those long anchor lines. This system goes right into the mud in that position, and once you set that position, it's not going to come out of there.
The place to go, if you want to order one of these manual shallow water anchor pins, is stickitanchorpins.com. That's stickitanchorpins.com. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be ordering one today, and I suspect you will be a happy angler if you do as well. Again, stickitanchorpins.com. Tom, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
John, thank you so much. Looking forward to talking to you again.
This portion of the show was brought to you by our friends at Work Sharp, and it being spring, it is time to sharpen things you're going to need around the yard and the garden. We're talking about everything from shovels to lawnmower blades to loppers to axes, and Work Sharp has powered knife and tool sharpeners that'll work great for this because you can hold on to them, you can sharpen at different angles with the abrasive belts. You're going to get everything you need sharp to do the job right in your garden, in your yard this spring. So look for powered knife and tool sharpeners from Work Sharp online at worksharptools.com or at a quality sporting goods or hardware store near you.
Come explore the Dalles in Oregon for outdoors fun. Hike amongst the wildflowers, bike our riverfront trail, or visit the Gorge Discovery Center where you can enjoy a live raptor display, or even check out our National Neon Sign Museum. But don't forget the fishing. We've got salmon, steelhead, bass, walleye, and monster-sized sturgeon waiting just for you. When the day is done, tell those tall tales at one of our wineries, breweries, or restaurants and plan your next adventure. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
In today's news, I'm cooking a brisket. Let's go to Jill at my house to see how it's going.
This is your house and you brought me and the crew to check on your brisket?
That's correct, Jill. How's it looking?
This is a Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi. You know you can check your cook right from your phone, right?
I didn't know that was an option, Jill. Well, never mind. But before you leave, can you feed the dog?
What? No.
When we get back, why is my check engine light on? The answer may shock me.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstances, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the darkest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference. That's huntofalifetime.org.
Mike Lindell, the inventor and CEO of MyPillow, wants to give you even more incredible savings during the bedding sale. 50% off comforters, quilts, blankets. You know that 2-inch mattress topper? 50% off sheets and sleepwear. All you have to do is go to MyPillow.com, scroll down. You'll see on the left side a box that says Radio Listener Special. You click on that, and then you see even more specials, in addition to the ones I just mentioned. Make sure you enter promo code KEN. That's my name, K-E-N, Ken. You don't have to mention my full name, Ken Matthews, but just put Ken in there. Plus, there's an overstock sale on couch pillows, not couch potatoes, pillows, individual towels, select pillowcases. You could get a full body pillow. That's for your entire body for only $39.99. More great savings from MyPillow.com. Made in America, luxurious, quality. Check it out at MyPillow.com. Promo code KEN.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and I got to tell you about something really big that's going to be going off in the week ahead. It's the World's Fishing Fair. It's billed as the greatest fishing show on earth. It's all about celebrating Bass Pro Shop's 50th anniversary. It's taking place at the Bass Pro Shop headquarters in Springfield, Missouri from March 30th through April 3rd. And with us here to tell you more about it is Jeff Wilhoit. He is with Marketing with Bass Pro. Jeff, welcome to the show.
John, thanks for having me.
Why don't you walk us through exactly what a fishing fair is? What are some of the things folks are going to be able to see and do here?
Yeah, we're super excited about this. The last time we had the World's Fishing Fair was in 1988. That was the very first one in Springfield, Missouri. We had 250,000 people show up to this fishing fair.
Wow.
And so we're super excited about this latest version of it. And yeah, it's kind of like what you would envision a fair to be, everything from Ferris wheels to tents to seminars, lots of incredible prizes we're going to give out. So it's fun for the entire family.
Oh, this sounds absolutely fabulous. You know, we've got folks listening today in Little Rock and cities across Arkansas, as well as Springfield, Missouri, and towns across Missouri as well. And I have no doubt a lot of folks will be interested in making the drive to come to this fair. Now, I understand that you're bringing in some real celebrities here. We're talking NASCAR legends. We're talking some of the most famous bass pros out there and some country music stars, too. Let's drop some names. Who's going to be there?
Well, how about we start with NASCAR? Of course, Bass Pro is heavily involved with NASCAR. So we've got some legends coming. Of course, Richard Childress, the famous owner of Dale Earnhardt's car and now NASCAR owner with Austin Dillon, his grandson. So Austin will be here and Richard will be here. And of course, Austin won the Daytona 500 a few years ago. And then our driver of the Bass Pro Shops, number 19 from Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. is going to be here. And I'll tell you what, he is not only an incredible driver, but I just got to go fishing with him a few weeks ago, and he's an incredible fisherman. So he's going to be there, and you're going to get to meet him. And then our Xfinity driver that drives the Bass Pro Black Rifle Coffee car, and that is Noah Gregson. He's going to be here as well. So we're very excited about those legends. And then to top it off, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is also going to be with us. So super excited about those NASCAR guys coming. And then, of course, the big draw with the World's Fishing Fair would be the pro fishermen. And the best of the best are going to be right here at this fair. So we're going to start with Bill Dance. I mean, he's the legend, right?
The man.
Yes. The man. He's going to be here. Roland Martin, again, a legend. Jimmy Houston, Kevin Van Dam, Edwin Evers, Ott Defoe. All the big names in fishing. They're not only going to be here, but they're going to be giving seminars on how to be a better fisherman. So we're super excited about that.
I was going to ask if it was going to just be meet and greets and autographs or if they're giving seminars. Love the fact they're sharing their knowledge with folks. We could talk about the celebrities all day, but we need to move on. But before we do, I've got to ask about, you've got some country music stars there. They're putting on some concerts. Who are a couple of those? And does the price of admission to the fair cover the concerts?
Oh, boy, do we ever. We probably have the hottest country stars going right now coming to the World's Fishing Fair. It all kicks off on Thursday night at JQH Arena in Springfield, and we've got Luke Combs coming, probably the hottest star out there right now. And then the next night on Friday night, it gets even better. We've got Dierks Bentley coming, Luke Bryan. How about that? And not only that, but also joining them are going to be John Anderson, and Chris Jansen and Lindsay L. So we're very excited about that. Then Saturday night, Hank Williams Jr. So we've got some massive concerts. And to get those tickets, you just go on BassPro.com and click on the World's Fishing Fair logo. And there are different levels of tickets. And you do need to buy a separate ticket for the concert besides the World's Fishing Fair.
Let's talk about some of the things you're going to see at the fair. I understand that there's some 200 exhibitors, a lot of new products, a lot of great deals. Tell me more about this.
So, yeah, we've got over 200 vendors that are going to be there. They're spread out over tents all over the parking lot. I think we have about 500,000 square feet of vendors set up, selling their goods and at incredible prices that you can't find anywhere else. And some of our vendors are going to be conducting some of the seminars. So right now, of course, electronics is a huge topic right now. A lot of people are fishing with these new forward scan fish finders. And so vendors like Lowrance will be there, and they'll be giving seminars with folks like Edwin Evers on how to use these electronics. So that will be a very popular seminar. And then, of course, the vendors will have all of their displays set up. People like Toyota will actually have a 50,000 square foot area, and you're going to actually get to drive the new Tundra. That'll be really cool.
Question for you, if you actually make it through the parking lot and all the exhibitors and past the Ferris wheels into the store itself, are there going to be some great sales and deals going on in the Bass Pro Shops headquarters store?
Absolutely. So the store is fully stocked with all of the merchandise, and everything pretty much is on sale and at incredible prices. If you want to pick up not only just some tackle, but maybe you want to pick up a new boat, you're going to be able to save a lot of money on a new boat by getting factory direct pricing and not having those delivery fees. So we've got everything on sale throughout the store. And it's not just fishing. I failed to mention this, but there's lots of other seminars and things going on for maybe you're not a fisherman, maybe you're a turkey hunter.
Right.
There's lots of other seminars going on with spring turkey hunting, and maybe you're a walleye fisherman, maybe you're not into bass fishing, or maybe you're into saltwater fishing. There's something for every fisherman.
So all sorts of things for the adults to be interested in. What about the kids if they come along?
There is so much for kids to do. There's so many different activities throughout the parking lot that kids can do. And then on Saturday, Dude Perfect is coming. And so if you have kids at home, they know who Dude Perfect is. They're YouTube stars, and these guys do these amazing trick shots, and they're going to be there to meet all the kids on Saturday, and Paw Patrol will be there. Not only that, but we have an incredible, huge Ferris wheel, and there's lots of different activities for kids to do, like the casting challenge. And I didn't mention this, but we're having the World Championships casting competition. On Sunday is the finals, and kids and adults can challenge the pros like Jimmy Houston, and you're going to win an incredible prize if you beat these pros in this pro casting challenge. So that's going to be really fun.
One last thing we have to talk about here. I understand there's $250,000 worth of prize giveaways. What are some of the big ones?
Every single hour, we're giving away huge prizes. And not only are we giving away cash prizes such as Bass Pro gift cards, but we're giving away the new 2022 Toyota Tundra pickup. And we're also giving away several new Bass Tracker boats. So that is pretty exciting. Also, the new ATVs from Tracker Off-Road we're giving away.
Last question here. Again, the World's Fishing Fair. The dates are March 30th through April 3rd. What are the hours? And what's the basic admission price? And what's 50% of the admission price going towards?
So the admission price right now, if you go on BassPro.com and get your tickets now, the adult ticket price is $10. That gets you into all 5 days of the fair. Kids 9 to 16 years old are $5 online. 8 and under are free. So that's an amazing deal. So you want to get them early and get them online. For military, it's only $5 for all 5 days. So really great pricing. The neat thing about this entire fishing fair is that 50% of all of these proceeds from all these ticket prices and the concerts, it's going back to support conservation. Again, Johnny Morris is probably arguably one of the greatest conservationists that's ever been. And so he's giving back 50% of all those proceeds to different organizations for conservation.
It's the World's Fishing Fair, billed as the greatest fishing show on earth. It's celebrating Bass Pro Shops' 50th anniversary. It is coming up this week, March 30th through April 3rd, at the Bass Pro Shops headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. and you just heard a whole bunch of reasons why you want to go there. So go to BassPro.com now, get your tickets, and make plans to attend. It's going to be all sorts of fun. You might just walk away with a great price, too. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
As we wrap up this show, I've got to share, I'm pretty excited about getting out with my best friend, Rusty Johnston. We're going to launch the new to us Nitro Z17 bass boat and pre-fish a big bass tournament that's being put on by the Mount St. Helens Bassmasters at Potholes Reservoir in eastern Washington. And I'll tell you what, this is actually one of the best bass lakes in the northwestern U.S. It's a 27,000-acre reservoir. It's actually in a desert, and there's tons of wildlife there. You've got both rocky areas and sandy areas and muddy areas. You've got wood, you've got rocks, you've got beaver huts, all sorts of places for largemouth and smallmouth bass. They can get as large as 7 pounds in there. Going to be over 100 boats, maybe even close to 200 for this April 9th event. If you're interested in participating, just contact the Mount St. Helens Bassmasters. They're on Facebook. You can also Google them and sign up for the big bass tournament they're putting on April 9th. Should be all sorts of fun. Let's hope we'll see you there. And if you're not there, that's okay. Let's hope you get out for fishing wherever you love to fish. After all, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.